Now there's probably 100 different ways to make an alcohol stove for backpacking out of an aluminum can. Now what this video is basically going to be is the first one I've ever made. I'm not an expert on this, so this is definitely not a scientific video, but for those of you that may be interested in how difficult it is to make one, this is just going to be like a first time making one perspective and my take on doing so. So it's really just an experiment. I don't need another stove. I just got some free time on my hands and it's something I've been interested in doing, so thought I'd bring the camera out and show you guys too. So anyways, I'm going to drink my Mountain Dew and I hope you guys stick around for the video, so stay tuned. Alright, so I'm going to try and do this without getting out of frame here and be as safe as possible also. But basically we're going to cut out the portion of the can inside where it tapers off from the top and then it goes down into the very lowest point in the lid here. That's where we're going to be cutting. We're just going to take out this whole beveled mouthpiece. And you want to do this carefully. Now I'm using a razor blade to do this. Hopefully I don't cut myself, but we'll see what happens here. And again, this is my first time, so it may not be perfect. Just warning. But I will show the video, because that's what the purpose of it is, a learning process. It's not a, you know, my stove is better than yours design or anything like that. It's just to kind of document my first stove. Now obviously you want an empty can, so you want to drink or pour out the fluids before you do this. And I didn't rinse this one out. You probably should rinse it out first, but I'll do that before I join the pieces together. You can see this probably looks dangerous, which it could be, but we'll just proceed with a little bit of caution. Now I've got that mostly cut out. Alright, so there I have, you can see there's a little bit of Mountain Dew in there. I'm going to go ahead and pour that out, and I'm going to try and clean up this edge right here, and I'll be right back. Now something that always seems to happen is when you place something in one place, it never stays in the same place. So I was looking for my file. I have a metal file, but I can't seem to find it, so I'm going to kind of improvise. I'm just going to take my drill and sorry I bumped the camera there, and just a really large drill bit, and I'm going to try and kind of smooth out the edges on the top here. So what I've gone ahead and done is I took a Sharpie marker and I kind of marked around the ridge here of where the burners are going to go. You can see I did it kind of sloppily. But what you want to do is you want the can to be on a flat surface. I didn't do this the first time. And then you want, you can turn it upside down if you want. But take a Sharpie marker or something to mark the surface of the can. And you want to either set the marker on top of a platform to hold it steady, and then just press down on the can and turn it around. But I'm just marking right on the ridge there where the can starts to taper down. And then we're going to put burners, we're going to drill burners in here. Now I'm probably going to do about 30 holes. You can do more or less depending on how much flame you want coming out and how much fuel, how fast you want the fuel to burn. I'm not an expert on that, so I'm just going to stick with about 30 holes. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm just going to measure a couple holes, and I'm going to see, I might do like, I don't know, half a centimeter apart, and we'll see how many I end up with that. So let me get my marker out. Start with the first one. Do like half a centimeter here. Now there's a lot of ways you can do this. I'm not really prepared to do it perfectly, but you could pre-mark out on a piece of tape where the half a centimeter is and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just gonna use this tape measure here, as hard as that may be, to do this. You know what? I think I'm gonna just go 1 centimeter between burners, and we'll see how that works. So I'm gonna fast forward through this. Let me mark these out, and I'll be right back. All right. So the next step is I'm gonna trace and cut out the top portion of our stove. Basically, we're going to want to cut about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. Either would probably work. I'm going to go with 1 1/4 of an inch, 1.25, and going to cut there. But you want to make sure that you measure and remember the measurement that you're using, the blah 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 blah, the 1.25 inches or whatever you use. But I'm setting it on top of a book, a marker here. Excuses Be Gone, by the way, by Wayne Dyer, great book. But this is going to work out to be about 1.25 inches. Just going to turn the can here with the marker, touching it, and hope that I get a better result this time by holding it steady. Seems to be working pretty good. And there I have my line. That's where you're going to cut it. I think I'm going to be cutting this with a razor, or I might get a hacksaw. Not sure, but I'm going to, let's see. Let me try and cut this with a razor. The main thing is you want to get it as exact as possible and straight. I can just get a hole going. Obviously, you don't want to cut your fingers. Very important not to do so. Maybe if I put my razor blade on the book, wonder if that would work. How close is it? It's right on there. Let me try that. Sorry guys, this is an impromptu video. Nothing's really planned out. I'm just trying this out. So that's a little taller, but I think that'll be alright. Let me just try cutting it like this, see if that works. Just gotta keep cutting into the can. It's starting to deform a little bit. That's not good. Not a good sign. You know what? I think I'm gonna just start a hole, and that way I can just cut it out. Alright, so I got the top part of the stove cut out. I ended up just using a razor blade. And you just got to keep going until it cuts into the can a little bit, and then it comes right apart. But anyways, so you can see the top half of this. I'm going to measure it. It's about, maybe about a little over 1.25, almost 1.5 inches. The bottom half we're going to cut basically to about 1 inch. And the reason for that is that the way that the can tapers on the bottom is different from the top. You can see it's not quite, the top is more, is shorter basically. So we want to make up for that difference. So we're going to cut this a little bit shorter. I'm going to do it the same way, but I'm going to, let's see, maybe I'll use this old BlackBerry right here, and let's see how the measurement is on that. Let's see how tall it is. That puts us right at about 1 inch. But I want to make it over 1 inch, so let me fold some paper. Guys, this is a really impromptu video, sorry. Nothing's really set up here. This will probably should put us above 1 inch. Let me just check the measurement on that again. Yeah, so we're about above 1 inch. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and cut the bottom portion of the can. Alright, so this is what we got here. We got the top half of the stove, bottom half of the stove, and the center of the can, which is what's left. All that's left for us to do now is to cut out a 1.5 inch high piece for the wall, the inner piece. And basically what it's going to be is when I clamp these together, or when I put these together, there's going to be a center piece. Let me see if I can see this. It's too bright right here, but the center chamber, this is going to be a two-wall design, is going to make a somewhat of a seal right where it tapers off in the bottom of the can, and it's going to connect with the top of the can, basically right where it tapers off right up here. So you want to make that about 1.5 inches, as close to that as possible. So I'm just going to measure 1.5 inches and cut it out with some scissors. So let me do that off camera, and we'll get into the assembly of the stove in just a second. Alright, so I got my centerpiece cut out, and basically you want it to fit right into the bottom of the stove and also the top of the stove to where it creates a center wall, and it goes over the lip on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully on the camera, but it fits right in. Then you want the top part to fit over this bevel right here, the top portion of the center chamber, so that when you put these together, it goes over that top part and creates a seal. So this one does on both sides, which is good. I just stuck it in here, measured it out, and kind of made some slits to put it together like so. And that's kind of how I did it. So now I'm going to put them together. Oh, one more thing. Just to give the fuel the opportunity to flow underneath the bottom, just going to cut a little slit, a couple of them, on the bottom part so that the fuel has the ability to leak out. Another one here. And I don't know how many you're supposed to, just a couple. Like I said, I've never made one of these, so this is kind of an experiment that may or may not work. So there's the disclaimer there. If it doesn't work, well, it was worth a shot to try. And that's probably good there. Just got a couple slits in there so that the fuel will, well, let me put one more on this side. That'll make it 4. So that the fuel has the ability to run underneath it. Now those of you that have made a lot of these stoves before, you're probably shaking your head at me. There's probably a better way, or I don't know. It's alright though. So now I'm going to put the stove together. Now basically, you just want to set the top piece over the bottom piece. Now, if you could stretch out the top piece first, that's great. One way to do that is to put it over the bottom end of the can a little bit, which I did do before. I don't think I talked about that on the video, but I'm going to try and get this to fit over, if at all possible. Alright, so after much trial and error, I got the thing together. So now you just want to kind of compress it as evenly as possible. I'm just going to use my hands to do this. You don't want to over compress it, but you just want to close it up good enough to where it stays on there and doesn't pop off, and also that it's even and makes a complete seal. Well, not a complete seal, but you get what I'm saying. And it appears to be pretty good. There's only one way to find out though, and that is to test it out, which I'm not going to do here because this surface right here is flammable. So I'm going to take you into an area where I can test this out, and we'll see if it works. Hopefully it does, because if not, I just wasted a long time making this thing, but that's okay. It's a learning process. So once again, I'm going to try some heat fuel. You can buy these at auto parts store. There's other chemicals you can use, but this is what I got, so I'm going to try it. And basically we're going to just pour the fuel into the top end here. We're going to light that on fire, let it prime a little bit until it heats up enough to where hopefully the flame starts coming out of these burners. So we'll see if that works, and hopefully it does. Alright, so the stove is ready to pour some fuel in and light. Not sure how much I'm going to pour in. Just going to pour a little bit in the center right here. Just enough to get it going, maybe. Don't want to spill, or you want to try and minimize any spills around it, just because that can light on fire too. But I think we're safe, so let me go ahead and try and light the center here. And it's going. Turn out the lights here, maybe you can see it. Center's still going. Looks like the sides are starting to go. Give it just a second. Oh, that's cool. Now they're going. You know what? I gotta stop the camera. It's not showing up. And there's the stove going. First one I ever made. It lit right up, but I had my exposure set way down when I turn the lights off. So it's actually working really good. I'm actually pretty surprised that it's working this well. That's really cool. It looks really cool too in the dark. But I have no doubt that that's going to boil some water pretty quickly. And once again, I just used one Mountain Dew can. Watched a couple videos on how to make this kind of two-wall stove, and got it to work first time. I don't know how long it'll work for as far as the fuel I put into it, but man, that's really cool. I didn't think it was going to work, to be honest with you, but it does, so that's cool. But anyways, thanks for watching as always. If you guys want to make one of these stoves, I recommend you do. It'll take a little bit of time your first time, but it's fun to do and definitely useful. I do want to keep trying to make some different kinds, and also use this one to see how well they work with different pots and pans when I go hiking and camping, backpacking, that type of stuff, because it's something that doesn't cost very much at all. If you have the tools, it barely costs anything to make these, so it's a lot of fun too. So anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, wasn't a professional, how-to or anything like that. Once again, this was my first time making one of these alcohol stoves, but in my opinion, it was a success for the first time, and look forward to making more of these when I get a chance. So as always, thanks for watching. Hope the video was interesting or entertaining, maybe, at watching me, go through the process for my first time making one of these. So I'll talk to you guys later as the fire's dying out. Take care.